YouTubers. I know I haven't been posting out a lot of videos lately, but I just had the urge to do so. So I've been having a lot of squash die. That's why this looks all funky. But we are going to go on a picking journey. Going to try to explain things, I guess, as we go. So I have some great plants that I put here. And I wanted to kind of move them closer to the tree after I got the tree trimmed, as you can see, to trellis up there. But they came out of the pots, so I can't move them. But this one was like trying to grab onto this pumpkin plant that died. And this was kind of an experiment from actual pumpkin, seeds out of a pumpkin. It grew pretty big, but a lot of times it was looking like it was really thirsty and limping, and I watered it really well and it just died. So this was like an old compost pile, and it might just be too many bugs in it. I don't know, but there's another pumpkin plant here that so far is doing pretty good, and this is from the seeds of a pumpkin that I grew, so it might actually do better. But again, this one did really good. It grew all the way over here, and it was starting to act like it wanted to trellis, and then it just croaked. And there was about 3 or 4 plants there, and they all died, and this one lived. But I don't know if there's some kind of disease that I don't know about, or some kind of bug in the soil, because this is a store-bought yellow zucchini, and it's kind of having the same thing go on. There's 3 plants, and I had zucchini on the bottom pot here that's underneath the compost, and last year it did really well. So I don't think it's really about space or anything, but we'll see. It doesn't look like I'm going to have a lot of squash this time, but I did plant tons of cucumbers. You see that? That is a pickling cucumber. I don't know how I'm going to... you gotta move, buddy. Sorry, guys. It's kind of a big one. So here I have a swimming pool that was made into a bed. I'm trying to see if there's any other ones that I missed, because this one was getting pretty big. I got cold compost underneath. So basically what I did is used my green waste. Sorry about the music in the background, but I used my green waste and I composted in there and used my food scraps, and then kind of layered them with leaves or wood chips. And a lot of it you could still notice what it was, but it had this like ashtray smell, I guess from being moist and getting hot. So anyways, I have all these watermelon plants in there, and then the cucumber plant, and so far they seem like they're doing pretty good. Last year my watermelons were so tiny, so I'm just trying something else out and seeing what happens. I need to water these. They're going to get watered today. So I got another cucumber plant. Basically, I'm just going to scope everything and do my picking today. Yeah, you guys see that? Like, get a life. I'm just saying. You got to go around with the boombox. It's not the 80s, buddy. But anyways, got this little tiny one. Oh, look at, see? Sometimes they hide. Got another little hidden one in here, and sometimes you gotta be careful, because see these little things on the top? Those are like little baby blooms, and I don't want to cut those off, because those will be cucumbers for me. So there's another one here that's really small. That's about right size, so I'm gonna go ahead and pick. And getting a lot of pickles so far, but this time I did so many plants, and look, I got a little ant that's like, I want to come in. Nope, sorry, dude. So this is 2 zucchinis that kind of overstayed their life in the little pots, but I put some microbes on their roots, so hopefully they do pretty good. This one here in the front looks like it's already growing, so that's good. They're both black beauties, so hopefully I'll get some zucchinis out of that. And I kind of did a composting in place. And these are both new pots. So there's a hole in the bottom so it can go through. And by the way, that's the same scenario in here. There's a big hole in the bottom. The roots can go through to the next pot, so on and so forth. I'm getting a lot of tomatoes off of this too. I'm really not sure what it is. I'm thinking it's like a tiny Tim or something. I'm not sure. But they're really small, like berries. And that was a volunteer, probably from all of the birds. And I have squirrels, and if you guys just heard that, they just threw a palm seed. They like to throw palm seeds at us if they see us. So I'm going to pick my tomatoes. Now, usually I would wait until they're fully ripe, but because of my blueberries and my mulberries, I haven't got any. The birds have been really hard on eating them. Well, we got a couple, like maybe 2 or 3 of each. So I'm letting a lot of my tomatoes just ripen in the house. So at least I'm getting my tomatoes, and they haven't been bothering even the ones, those small ones that look like berries. And I think it's because it's companion planted with the cactus. And plus they're eating a lot of my worms, so I don't know what to do about that. At first I was just like all happy about the birds, and mostly it was the pigeons, and I'm feeding them and everything, and now I got all kinds of families of birds, to the point where when I cut that tree down, I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if I showed you in another video, so kind of skipping back over here. So when I had, my cousin came and helped me cut the tree, and this big log here was in the middle. You can barely see because the leaves are coming over, but you can see that little hole. There was baby birds inside of the middle of the tree. I guess there was like a hole big enough for the bird to get in. And I was like, okay, well, let's just leave it there, and hopefully the mom comes and to get her babies and everything. And she did. And so they grew up and they lived. We would put a little piece of bark or something over it to stray cats, because we do also have cats. Of course, when you have a lot of birds and squirrels, you're going to have cats around. And I've also had some help from a fellow vegan to have a baby pigeon that I found that came out the nest. I guess sometimes they come out the nest, but it wasn't able to fly, and it seemed like it was sick. And I wasn't able to really take it because, those who don't know, like my daughter has reactive airway disease. She's very sensitive lungs, so I didn't want to even bring it in the house or anything, but I didn't want to leave it outside because I knew the poor thing was going to get eaten by a cat. And there's a lot of strays around, and there's also a lot of cats that are just, that's what cats do, I guess. So it doesn't mean that they're hungry. They're just going to kill stuff. And so there's been several times where I found pieces of birds' remains in my yard and pieces of squirrels. And it was so sad when there's a couple squirrels, mommy and daddy squirrel. And one time the mommy had 2 little babies. And then all of a sudden, 2 days in a row, I find squirrel remains in my yard of the little babies. So, and like I said, sometimes the birds and the, well, I don't know if I said it or not, but sometimes the birds and the squirrels can be a nuisance to the garden. And now, so I'm seeing a lot of this on this plant. This plant was really thriving, and I think I'm just having a lot of problems with not watering it in time. And I'm probably going to have to do the same thing like I did with my other tomato plants. Oh, that one's doing it too. Blossom end rot, if you haven't ever seen that. That's what it looks like. So what I'm doing is just feeding those particular tomatoes back to the plant. I can still eat them, but this one's starting up a little bit. It's not that bad. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that one. And this massive thing is my pineapple sage. That is just like, okay, I don't have enough space. It's got I composted some of the dryness, and I guess it was asleep and it woke back up inside of this pot. So now I'm going to have 2 huge plants, which I'm not really minding too much. I think I'm going to try to start drying some of the pineapple sage and burning it like an incense, like you would regular sage. And I'm just kind of keeping my little containers over there. And you see the birds. This is my problem. Like, you're pooping all over my plants, buddy. It's just too much sometimes. And and another thing they did, I have a small orange tree and I have a lemon tree that's in the ground and an orange tree that's in the pot. They ate all of the blossoms off of my orange tree, and it was at least 30 blossoms. And I know that would put too much to be in a pot for it to produce, but I'm not even getting one. So I guess I know now that they like it, and I can see why, because it smells so good, the citrus blossoms. So you see this is a regular cucumber. Let's see. I know I have a Japanese. Let's see which. This is Burpless Bush Hybrid. Now, I'm not super okay, hybrids, but it's a cucumber. And I didn't have many options because a lot of these plant starts I actually got at Walmart this year, even though I do like getting my stuff at Home Depot because of the guarantee. So here we have another squash. This is a scallop squash. And this is I had a scallop squash that I picked from my garden last year, and I had a lot that I didn't eat, and it started sprouting in the house, out of it. So I just planted it in here, and first it was doing so good, and the same thing happened. Almost all of them died, and this is the only one alive, and it looks just like it needs water, but I'm telling you, I come in here and I water it real good, and it doesn't make a difference. So I don't know if they are just getting more sun than they're liking, or what's stressing them out so much. But again, I had a zucchini right in the same exact spot last year, but I know the weather's different, but it's not liking it very much. And I do have some pole beans in here to help with the nitrogen and all that good stuff, and they're fine with it. They're fine with the heat, except for this one we got a little bit of dry spots. But I have an asparagus in there, and then I have the green beans planted on both sides. And look, I got this huge one that I didn't even see, and it's already getting hard, so I'm not going to pick it. I'm just going to let it finish going to seed. But I'm going to have to get out here and pick green beans pretty soon. But I do have inside of here a pepper plant. And this is kind of doing the same thing where it's getting stressed out. And it's like I'm watering every day, but because of the way I have to water, I have 3 hoses, but I just put the water hose on low and give everybody a drink. Let them have an hour or 2 or whatever. This one's almost red, so I'm going to go ahead and pick it. And I'll show you guys the brand or the type of chili this is in a moment. Oh, we found another huge green beans. Look at that. Yeah, I'm going to have to start picking because they're getting really big. So maybe, oh my gosh, look at that. Just out of nowhere, it just started getting tons. But I do have a lot of ripe chilies here. And the last time I only got a couple of little tiny ones. I put them in my pickles. But I haven't tried the pickles yet. And after I decided to make the spicy pickles, my daughter said she liked the pickles. So there's what we got here. And it's Dragon Cayenne hot pepper. Now, I got a lot of hot peppers in here, but if you didn't know, the jalapenos, and I got some other what is it? Sandia. Pepper's supposed to be red, so I'm not gonna pick those yet. I'm not sure that I have to worry about the birds eating the hot peppers and stuff. I think I heard somewhere or read somewhere that birds don't have the same receptors of hot stuff, so they'll eat peppers and not even care. So I haven't really got any strawberries, even though I have all this strawberry. And look at all these runners. I have runners coming out like crazy. And there's already spots where last year they seeded in here, but I really don't want to seed them or them to be in the ground, because you see all these weeds. Like, I'm gonna eventually, hopefully, be able to contain this problem, because underneath here is wood chips. You can't even see them because of all of this Bermuda grass or crabgrass, whatever you want to call it. So a mission that I had a long time ago was to make this strawberry tier, and never finished it. It's always so many things to do in the garden. But one thing I do totally appreciate is that tomatoes do not have any problem growing out here in my area of California. So pretty soon I'm going to have to dehydrate, and I'm also going to get some salsa going. Dehydrate some tomatoes. Look at these. These are plants that have been, all of the tomato plants in this particular bed have been overwintered. So this is the last year's. And then I planted bell peppers in here. You see I got one over there, still green, so I'm gonna let it grow. But I don't see really any other ones so far, but they may not be having enough water. And if you notice, a lot of my beds are very unorthodox. So this is my low flow, is what I was mentioning before, and I was putting that in the watering can to water that tomato plant that we've seen with the blossom end rot. So over here it doesn't get as hot. So I have my kales over here, but they did get the white fly or white aphid infestations. So I really haven't been able to eat any kales from my garden lately. It's just not my thing when there's bugs on it, even to really wash them off. So I'll wait until they kind of build up their strength, and hopefully I'll start getting better at making sure that they get everything they need to fight back on these bugs. Because, yeah, it's one of the things that I really like to eat a lot is my greens, and I haven't really had any. And then I ordered some from my Farm Fresh to You, and maybe I'll do a video unboxing one of those deliveries, one of those services that come in delivered to your doorstep. And I'll try to remember to put my code under to get a discount. But yeah, so I got some, but it was pretty limp, I'm not gonna lie. And it's probably because it's local and it's gonna have the same problems as I'm having. And if you pick them when they're too hot, when it's too hot outside, it's just not gonna be good. So look at those, perfect. Now this one, and the beans are feeling a little hard in there. Probably should have just left that one on. So green beans is basically the seed pod. So, oh, we got another little big guy over here. Yeah, it's too hard. I'm sorry that I keep pointing you guys all kinds of places, but this just like started shooting beans out of nowhere. I'm serious. Like, I've been over here every so often, even trimming the leaves down to make sure that they're not shading out the pepper plant too much. It's kind of hard to see where that one came from. Okay, look at the little baby one. I don't know if you guys can see up where I'm seeing, but I don't think you can. Let me push it up a little bit. There we go. Okay, this one doesn't feel hard. So yeah, you can feel them, and when they start feeling hard, they're already, like, the seed part's forming. So if you're gonna pick them, you might as well just wait let them dry out, or just like saute the beans, because the pod part is not going to taste very good. It's going to be kind of bitter. There's another big boy. Whoa. And it's actually still pretty soft. So I'm going to pick it. And there's a lot of little antsies on there. They must have found a home in here. Oh, a whole bunch more. I'm sorry for the weird angle, because I got it kind of on my phone between my legs to keep it here. I'm just trying to make one fall. Okay, those are all too small. All right. Let's see. That's a little too hard. Oh, I see some over here on this other side. Let's see if I can. Wow. This is pretty soft still. That is way more than I expected, because I was like looking at these the other day and I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to grab a couple. But last year I didn't really like doing my green beans, because every time I would literally like get a couple, like 2 or 3. Alright, well, my phone is going to die, so I guess I'm gonna go ahead and give my outro. I hope you guys liked this video. Be sure to subscribe and let me know how your garden's doing. All right, everyone, have a blessed day.